Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Falina Bejaziz, number matrix AW210023. Today I want to talk about the suitable gas law to explain how COVID-19 virus may spread rapidly inside an aircraft cabin. The suitable gas law to explain is Avogadro's law. We already know Avogadro's law states that the volume of a sample of gas is directly proportional to the number of moles in the sample at constant temperature and pressure. We connect with this statement is that cabin's air isn't completely shut in. Here, I'm going to explain that during the flight, fresh air is continuously introduced. The jets of a plane are already taking in and compressing large amounts of air to be burned with aviation fuel. Some of this is diverted so that the passengers can get some fresh air. Because compression hits the air, it must first be cooled by ducting it around the wings. The air in the cabin is filtered with high efficiency particulate air (HEPA) filters to remove bacteria and viruses before being combined 50-50 with fresh air from outside. To maintain cabin pressure, excess cabin air is expelled through valves to the back of the plane. This technology implies that the air in the plane's cabin is entirely replenished roughly 15 times each hour, but it's primarily for temperature management and contaminant removal. Therefore, how can COVID be spread in an airplane? According to current evidence in World Health Organization (WHO) website, the virus transmits primarily amongst people who are near one another, such as at a conventional distance. When an infected person coughs, sneezes, speaks, sings, or breathes, the virus spreads in little liquid particles from their mouth or nose. When infection particles in the air are breathed at close range, this is known as short-range aerosol or short-range airborne transmission. Or when infectious particles come into direct contact with the eyes, nose, or mouth, another person can get the virus, which is droplet transmission. can also spread in cramped and poorly ventilated interior environments where people prefer to spend longer periods of time. This is because aerosols can linger in the air or travel beyond that and conventional distance. This is often called long-range aerosol or long-range airborne transmission.
The challenge facing scientists and the aviation industry is understanding exactly how SARS-CoV-2 is transmitted from an infected person to another person, which is more complicated than you might think. We know that SARS-CoV-2 is primarily excreted through respiratory droplets, which leave the mouth and nose. According to the World Health Organization, these droplets are relatively heavy, do not travel far, and quickly sink to the ground. These droplets can land on objects and surfaces around the person, such as tables, doorknobs, and handrails. People can become infected by touching these objects or surfaces and then touching their eyes, nose, or mouth. This indicates that the likeliest spread of the virus is from touching contaminated surfaces where the virus can remain viable for several hours and sometimes days. For these reasons, airports and air cabins are being deep cleaned and in some cases radiated with UV light to kill the virus.
People can also become infected by touching their eyes, nose, or mouth after encountering virus-infected surfaces or objects. In conclusion, any setting where people are in close quarters for an extended length of time increases the potential of transmission. Indoor environments, particularly those with poor ventilation, are riskier than outside settings. Singing or heavily breathing during exercise, for example, cause more particles to be ejected from the lips, increasing the likelihood of transmission. Infectious illness transmission may be a high-risk environment in aircraft cabins. In other situations, space confinement, inadequate ventilation, prolonged exposure times, and recirculating air have all been shown to be risk factors for transmission of upper respiratory tract infections, which is URI. Several case reports reveal influenza and TB epidemics on planes, although it's unclear whether air recirculation increased transmission rates. In army barracks, air recirculation boosts the transmission of viruses that cause the common cold, but this potential has not been investigated in aeroplanes. Thank you for spending your time to listen on my presentation. I hope that all of you can get the information from it. Thank you.